What happens when the world's most dangerous secret agent finds himself bleeding out in a dark alley? Kayden Break gasps for air, blood streaking down his face as shadows close in. The chase is over. His body screams in agony, but his mind races. There's only one way out of this nightmare. A desperate transformation that will change everything. Meanwhile, across the city, Jiwoo Seo stands mesmerized before a vending machine. This kind-hearted young man with lightning reflexes can't decide between snacks. His biggest worry should be which treat to choose. But fate has other plans. As he steps outside, lamenting his impulse purchases for his cats, a car speeds toward disaster. A young boy chases his soccer ball into traffic. The car horn blares. Time slows. In seconds, a tragedy will unfold unless someone intervenes. The child scrambles for his ball, oblivious to the speeding metal death approaching. The street bustles with pedestrians, but none can react fast enough. But Jiwoo won't let innocence die today. In a blur of motion too fast for eyes to follow, he saves the child from certain death. As he kneels beside the shaken boy, Jiwoo's heart pounds, not from exertion, but from fear. Did anyone see? Did he expose the secret that could destroy his peaceful life? The child looks around in confusion, trying to understand how he escaped death's grasp. Jiwoo melts into the crowd, his secret safe, for now. As night falls, he returns home to his faithful companions, 3 cats who always seem to be waiting. But tonight, something feels different about their behavior. Jiwoo's confusion deepens as his cats refuse their expensive treats. He spent his last money on their food, yet they ignore it completely. When the black and white cat starts walking away, Jiwoo follows, sensing something urgent in their behavior. Where are they leading him? And why do they seem so determined? The cats guide him to a quiet house where unconsciousness awaits. But this isn't Jiwoo who passes out, it's someone else entirely. In a cozy room, an orange tabby cat awakens with a shock that shakes his very core. 3 words escape his lips that change everything. I'm a cat. Jiwoo discovers the injured cat and feels immediate relief. Someone else is awake and safe. This caring young man doesn't realize he's just found the world's most dangerous secret agent trapped in a fluffy, orange body. The cat questions this doofus who dare to help him, but Jiwoo's genuine kindness begins to crack even Kayden's cynical heart. Jiwoo approaches with food, treating his guest like any ordinary house cat. He offers lactose-free milk and opens cans with genuine concern for the cat's healing. But this isn't just any cat. This is Kayden Break, and his indignation at being offered cat food is both hilarious and deeply insulting to his pride. Kayden reluctantly eats the offered food, realizing he needs strength to heal. But when Jiwoo tries to determine the cat's gender by checking, Kayden's patience finally snaps. The proud secret agent won't tolerate such indignities. His angry retort startles Jiwoo, who suddenly realizes that something impossible is happening. Did that cat just speak? Jiwoo freezes in shock as a deep male voice echoes in his living room. He frantically looks around for a TV left on, any explanation other than the impossible truth staring him in the face. The orange tabby glares at him with unmistakable intelligence, demanding to be heard. Kayden's patience has reached its limit. He demands Jiwoo's name with the authority of someone accustomed to instant obedience. This isn't a request. It's a command from a predator barely contained in a fluffy body. Jiwoo stammers his name, completely overwhelmed by the cat's sudden dominance. Then comes an even stranger request. Bring me a chair. The mighty Kayden Break, secret agent extraordinaire, struggles with the simple task of climbing onto a chair. His current body betrays him at every turn, weak and cumbersome compared to his former strength. Jiwoo watches with growing sympathy, but Kayden's warning turns deadly serious. Keep this secret or face the consequences. Reality crashes down as Kayden confronts his reflection. The proud, feared agent sees himself truly for the first time, a fat, fluffy cat with an embarrassing double chin. His roar of denial echoes through the room as he declares his true identity. That's me, the great Kayden. But the mirror doesn't lie. The shock overwhelms him. Kayden collapses as the full weight of his transformation hits him like a sledgehammer. Jiwoo panics, thinking the cat might die in his care. He shakes the unconscious feline desperately, pleading for him not to die. But Kayden's torment runs deeper than physical pain. His very identity has been shattered. Jiwoo needs answers. How can a cat speak like a human? But Kayden's response reveals an even more impossible truth. He isn't a cat at all. He's a human trapped in this ridiculous form. The secret agent's arrogance remains intact, even as he refuses to explain the details of his transformation to this bewildered young man. Kayden shuts down further questions with cold efficiency. Some truths are too dangerous to share with an ordinary person. He warns Jiwoo that ignorance might be the only thing keeping him safe in a world far more dangerous than he realizes. Their meeting was fate. Nothing more needs to be said. Alone with the cat food, Kayden faces a humiliating reality. His stomach rumbles with hunger, and despite his pride, he begins to eat. The taste is alien, wrong, but his weakened body demands nutrition. With each bite, the great Kayden Break falls further from his former glory into an existence he never imagined possible. Night falls, and Jiwoo prepares for his evening routine. He invites Kayden to join him, but the proud cat questions why he should accompany this human anywhere. Jiwoo's gentle persistence slowly breaks through Kayden's defenses. Against his better judgment, the secret agent finds himself being carried like an ordinary pet. Jiwoo's protective instincts kick in as he insists on taking the injured cat to a hospital. Kayden's protests fall on deaf ears. This human's determination to help is both touching and infuriating. The great Kayden Break, reduced to hissing like an ordinary house cat, discovers that sometimes kindness is harder to fight than any enemy. At the veterinary clinic, Jiwoo explains his concern to the surprised doctor. Kayden endures the humiliation of being examined like a common pet, his rage building with each passing moment. The doctor finds nothing seriously wrong, just some scratches, but Kayden's dignity bleeds more than any physical wound ever could. The vet suggests a diet for the overweight cat, sending Kayden into internal fury. Outside the clinic, as they discuss his treatment, Kayden overhears whispers about a monster cat terrorizing the neighborhood. His ears perk up with interest. Could there be another awakened being nearby? And if so, what kind of danger does it represent? Terror strikes as children encounter the monster cat in a dark alley. The feral creature hisses with primal rage, its eyes glowing with unnatural fury. These aren't ordinary animal instincts. Something has gone horribly wrong with this awakened being. The children's screams echo through the night as they flee from the nightmare pursuing them. Jiwoo and Kayden hear the commotion nearby. Jiwoo fumbles for a weapon while holding Kayden protectively. His mind races for solutions. How do you fight something that powerful? In desperation, he grabs a toy from his pocket. Kayden's expression shifts from annoyance to disbelief. Is this human seriously planning to fight a monster with a cat toy? Chaos erupts as the transformed creature attacks with savage fury. Jiwoo dodges desperately, shouting warnings while the monster's claws tear through the air where he stood moments before. This isn't a cat anymore. It's a killing machine driven by uncontrollable rage. Death stalks them through the veterinary clinic as reality turns into a nightmare. In the midst of terror, something unexpected happens. As Kayden focuses on the dangling toy, his predatory instincts surface. A brilliant flash erupts from nowhere, followed by an explosion that shakes the building. When the smoke clears, a figure in a white coat stands dramatically, declaring his defeat. But who is this mysterious newcomer? In shadowy meeting places, powerful figures discuss Kayden's legendary reputation. His victories have become the stuff of legends. Even the strongest awakened refuse to face him now. But tonight, someone extends an offer that could change everything. Join forces to rule the world. Power calls to power in the darkness. But the great Kayden has fallen far from those glory days. Jiwoo watches in bewilderment as the fearsome secret agent plays with a feather toy. The proud warrior who once commanded respect now bats at dangling objects with feline instincts he can't control. How the mighty have fallen into adorable embarrassment. The monster cat returns with vengeance blazing in its eyes. Its hiss cuts through the night like a blade as Jiwoo stumbles in terror. The creature's scarred face reveals a history of violence and pain. Jiwoo recognizes something familiar in those tormented features, but the realization brings more questions than answers. What happened to create this nightmare? Kayden's fury explodes as his body betrays him at the worst possible moment. His feline instincts activate against his will, making him look foolish when he needs to appear threatening. The great secret agent spits and hisses like a common house cat, his dignity shattered by biology he can't control. Sometimes the body remembers what the mind wants to forget. Panic takes hold as Jiwoo runs through the night, clutching Kayden while explosions echo behind them. The white tiger's roar shakes the very foundations of reality as debris rains down like Judgment Day. Their desperate flight leads through trash-filled alleys while death stalks their every step. There's nowhere left to run. In the aftermath, Jiwoo carries Kayden to safety while processing what they witnessed. That creature wasn't just angry, it was suffering beyond imagination. Jiwoo's heart breaks thinking about others who might encounter such a tortured soul. His protective nature won't let him ignore the danger, even if it means risking everything he holds dear. Jiwoo realizes he has no phone to call for help. Kayden suggests he step up personally, but Jiwoo questions getting involved with something so dangerous. The cat hints at Jiwoo's hidden potential, strength that could tear car doors like paper. But with great power comes the weight of responsibility Jiwoo isn't sure he's ready to bear. Determination hardens in Jiwoo's eyes. He recognizes the monster cat as someone who was once innocent, someone who deserves better than endless torment. Against Kayden's warnings, Jiwoo decides to help. In response, Kayden offers something unprecedented, a portion of his own power to aid in subduing the tortured creature. A mysterious figure kneels before the monster cat, commanding it to lower itself. The cat obeys with disturbing compliance as electrical energy begins to crackle through the air. Something powerful is awakening in this alley, and the very atmosphere trembles with anticipation. The calm before the storm has ended. Jiwoo prepares to search for the monster cat, but Kayden stops him with chilling words. It's already here. A shadow looms ominously at the top of the stairs as Jiwoo questions how Kayden can remain so calm. Despite sharing his power, shouldn't Kayden still fear that creature? Unless there's something about this situation Jiwoo doesn't understand. The monster confronts Jiwoo directly, its red eyes glowing with recognition and pain. This creature remembers Jiwoo's kindness from before, but something has twisted those memories into torment. As claws scrape against stone and growls fill the air, Kayden prepares to intervene. The monster's questions reveal a tragic confusion about what happened to its former self. Kayden observes with growing respect as Jiwoo dodges the creature's attacks with supernatural grace. Those aren't lucky reflexes. The boy can actually track and anticipate movements too fast for ordinary humans to follow. But how? Jiwoo isn't even using his awakened powers yet, which means his natural abilities are far more impressive than anyone realized. The truth explodes into view as Jiwoo reveals abilities that shock even the monster cat. Electric energy crackles around his fist as he apologizes to his former friend. This isn't just super speed. This is something far more powerful. The boy who hid his gifts is finally unleashing them to save a tortured soul, even if it means exposing everything. The battle ends with Jiwoo breathing heavily, the monster cat unconscious, but finally at peace. Kayden teases him about his earlier confidence, questioning whether it came from the borrowed power. But Jiwoo's nervous laughter suggests the truth is more complicated. Perhaps the power was always his, he just needed permission to use it. Recognition dawns as they identify the unconscious creature. Jiwoo's eyes widen. This was once an innocent cat he knew. Kayden urges them to leave quickly before their commotion attracts unwanted attention. But high above on a rooftop, a figure in a dark suit watches their every move. They're not alone, and their troubles are far from over. On a distant rooftop, a man with piercing eyes and slicked gray hair stares at a device in frustration. The tracker shows nothing. His sample has vanished without a trace. With glowing red eyes that hint at his own dark powers, he realizes he'll have to use abilities he'd rather keep hidden. The hunt is about to become much more dangerous. Back home, Jiwoo tends to the unconscious cat while anxiety gnaws at him. He's done his best to help, but what if the creature wakes up in monster form again? The gray-striped cat lies peacefully on the couch, but appearances can be deceiving. Sometimes healing on the outside doesn't guarantee peace within. Jiwoo pieces together the impossible truth as he sits beside Kayden. That transformation wasn't natural. The cat had been awakened, given powers it couldn't control. His voice trembles with uncertainty as he asks Kayden about awakened ones. The weight of a larger world presses down on him, full of mysteries he's only beginning to understand. Panic floods through Jiwoo as the word awakened hits him like lightning. He begs Kayden not to reveal his secrets, hands raised defensively. But Kayden's response carries more surprise than threat. This proud cat is offended that Jiwoo would even question his discretion. Some bonds run deeper than mere convenience. The revelation hits like a thunderbolt. Jiwoo is an awakened one, and that's why he can move with superhuman speed. Kayden explains this with casual certainty while Jiwoo's world shifts beneath his feet. There are others like him, others with impossible abilities hidden in plain sight. He's not alone, and he's not a monster. Emotion overwhelms Jiwoo as the truth sinks in. For the first time in his life, someone understands what he is without fear or judgment. Tears flow freely as years of loneliness and self-doubt finally release their grip. Kayden watches with unexpected gentleness as this young man processes a lifetime of isolation coming to an end. Jiwoo shares his painful history for the first time, discovering his powers as a child, his mother's terrified warnings, being called a monster by those who should have protected him. Kayden listens with growing understanding. The world is cruel to those who don't fit its narrow definitions of normal, especially when they don't know what they truly are. Hope begins to bloom as Kayden encourages Jiwoo to embrace his true nature. The world is full of people with extraordinary abilities, like superheroes from stories, but real and living ordinary lives. Jiwoo's excitement is infectious as he realizes he's not cursed but gifted. The conversation flows like a dam breaking, releasing years of suppressed dreams. But Kayden's assessment is sobering. Jiwoo's powers have barely grown because he's been hiding rather than training. While most awakened ones strengthen their abilities, Jiwoo has let fear limit his potential. The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Will he continue hiding in the shadows, or will he finally step into the light and become who he was meant to be? Jiwoo's stomach growls, breaking the heavy conversation. With an embarrassed laugh, he admits he hasn't eaten all evening. The simple human need for food cuts through the tension. He reaches for bread, his hand trembling slightly, not from hunger alone, but from everything he's just shared. As he takes a bite, even Kayden's cat food gets poured. Sometimes the most ordinary moments follow the most extraordinary revelations. The unlikely pair settles into their meal. Jiwoo, still in his rumpled clothes, urges Kayden to eat from his bowl. The proud cat grumbles about the indignity of cat food, but caves to hunger. There's something beautifully absurd about this scene. A boy sharing fast food while a legendary agent munches kibble. Both pretending this is normal. Both knowing their world just changed forever. Night falls over the quiet neighborhood like a blanket hiding secrets. But Kayden's ears perk up. Something's wrong. An energy signature he didn't sense coming. His current feline state dulling his usual awareness. His eyes narrow as unnatural power pulses through the air. This energy feels different. Dangerous. A flash of movement cuts through the shadows like a blade through silk. Chaos erupts in the living room. The injured cat suddenly bolts, causing a massive crash that shatters the peaceful evening. Kayden sits stunned on the sofa's edge as the small feline rockets toward the door. Swift sounds echo through the apartment. Tap, tap, tap of desperate paws on hardwood. Kayden realizes with growing dread that their rescued patient has just made a very dangerous escape. Jiwoo springs into action, anxiety written across his face. He grabs his cap, preparing to chase down the escaped cat. The urgency in his voice cuts through the night air. This isn't just about a runaway pet. That cat could attack innocent people. The energy surrounding them has awakened something primal, something dangerous. Time is running out before this becomes a disaster. Kayden surprises Jiwoo by volunteering to help. The cat's gruff declaration masks genuine concern. He senses the unpleasant energy too. Despite his protests about not doing this for Jiwoo, his actions speak louder. Gratitude floods Jiwoo's voice as they cross the street together. This partnership, born from necessity, is already becoming something deeper. Something like trust. Jiwoo's sneakers tap rhythmically against the pavement as they race through narrow alleys. Kayden, nestled in his arm, analyzes their earlier fight with calculated precision. Speed isn't just about moving fast. It requires reflexes, cognitive abilities, dynamic vision. Jiwoo possesses all these traits naturally. Most awakened ones have multiple abilities. The question is, how far can Jiwoo's powers really go? The chase intensifies through winding urban alleys. Jiwoo's cap shadows his focused expression as they navigate left turns at breakneck speed. Kayden calculates their remaining time. Maybe 2 seconds of super speed left. The striped cat's location remains a mystery. But Kayden's tactical mind is already working. He raises a paw, a hint forming. Strategy over brute force. Jiwoo's instincts guide them toward danger. His theory crystallizes. Another awakened one is involved, and that's where they'll find their missing cat. Kayden confirms his fears about these awakened beings. As they sprint through the dimly lit alley, an ominous sound echoes ahead. Something sinister waits in the shadows. The hunt is about to become deadly. The confrontation begins. The striped cat, now radiating commanding presence, recognizes Jiwoo instantly. Its voice carries weight as it claims Jiwoo reacted to some kind of imprint. But confusion clouds the cat's fierce eyes. It seems weaker somehow. How did it escape from what it calls a special cage? The hiss that follows promises violence. This is no ordinary house cat anymore. An older man with disheveled gray hair observes the hissing cat with dark amusement. His smirk suggests he knows exactly what's happening. The creature's imprint has broken during experimentation. The cat has been awakened from dormancy. Meanwhile, Jiwoo spots the scene from around a corner, calling out to Kayden in alarm. The pieces of a sinister puzzle are falling into place. Kayden's tactical experience kicks in. He signals Jiwoo to hide, recognizing the deadly situation unfolding. A masked figure emerges, demanding they focus on the cat they're searching for. But Kayden sees what Jiwoo doesn't. There's a human with that cat, and that human is awakened. You can't just blindly attack someone with powers. Strategy and caution must prevail. The gray-haired boy pieces together the situation. Did this man come looking for the escaped cat? But displaying awakened powers so openly is reckless. A menacing creature suddenly screeches, and Jiwoo's reflexes save him from a vicious strike. The creature slams into a wall, debris flying. Jiwoo's warning rings clear. That hit should have been fatal. Something is very wrong here. Jiwoo stands firm against the bloodied, aggressive cat. His blue hair catches the dim light as he gestures with calculated confidence. The cat hisses, its fur matted with blood from their fierce struggle. But Jiwoo's sinister smirk reveals a hidden plan. He throws something that cuts through the air with a sharp sound. Then comes his chilling command. Wake up. The trap is set. Shock registers on the young man's face as he realizes the cat's true strength. His mind races. Someone is controlling those powers with just a flick of their hand. Is this psychokinesis? The casual display of power against what should be just a house cat reveals the depth of ability they're facing. From the shadows, an older man in red taps his foot impatiently. Is that really all the cat can do? The cat's fur bristles as it snarls, still defiant despite its weakened state. Jiwoo crouches nearby, gripping the creature tightly, his face etched with concern. He doesn't understand the full situation, but his instinct screams that he must save this cat. Kayden's voice cuts through. Don't be stupid. The cat fought and lost. Rushing in blindly will only lead to disaster. Hard truth crashed down on Jiwoo. Kayden's warning echoes through the alley. Are you ready to fight with your life on the line? Jiwoo only discovered he was awakened hours ago, and now he wants to battle an experienced opponent? The formal-suited figure presses the point. Know your limits. The yellow-striped cat hisses defensively, sensing the mounting tension. Some battles can't be won through courage alone. The dark-haired man's smug smile turns predatory. Why won't you attack me? He taunts, disappointment dripping from his words. The striped cat attempts to flee, but escape isn't an option. A flash of movement. Blood splatters. The sound of impact, crack, echoes through the alley. In one swift, brutal motion, the cat's fate is sealed. The low hum of silence follows. The aftermath is devastating. The striped cat lies motionless, blood staining the ground beneath it. The young man in the dark suit watches in horror, calling the attack cruel and senseless. His voice trembles with urgency as he tells Kayden he'll try to save the cat using his powers. But the dark-haired attacker seems confused, as if he missed something important in that desperate plea. Jiwoo's internal struggle reaches a breaking point. Kayden warned him his power might be useless, he could get hurt. But looking at that fallen cat, only one thought burns through his mind. He wants to save it. The ginger tabby watches in shock as the young man approaches danger. The cat's thoughts race. What is he trying to do? A foul scent fills the air. Death is coming. Jiwoo shouts for the hooded figure to halt. Where did this stranger come from? The mysterious person crouches near the yellow-striped cat, clearly trying to steal what the attacker calls his sample. But before anyone can react, boom, an explosion rocks the alley. Smoke and debris fill the air. When it clears, Jiwoo stares in disbelief. The figure has vanished. How is that possible? The dark-haired man's confidence cracks as reality hits. A tracker, damn it. He shouldn't have used his power so carelessly. The mysterious escape was too quick, too clean. Now he realizes other trackers could appear at any moment. As he prepares to flee, the striped cat pants heavily on the ground, exhausted from its ordeal. The hunt isn't over. Jiwoo cradles the limp cat against his chest, his voice heavy with regret. He couldn't just leave the creature there to die. Kayden's shocked exclamation cuts through the night air. The yellow cat with green eyes watches this display of foolish bravery, calling Jiwoo an idiot while secretly acknowledging his courage. Sometimes the most reckless acts reveal the truest hearts. Excitement bubbles up in Jiwoo's voice as revelation dawns. He's excited now, truly excited. The power he spent years hiding isn't a curse or a problem. For the first time, he used his abilities for something to be proud of. The orange cat looks curious as Jiwoo's enthusiasm pours out. Under cherry blossoms and starlight, shame transforms into pride. But Kayden's frustration explodes with a resounding slam. In his laboratory, the gray-haired experimenter seethes with frustration. He lost the sample he worked so hard to create. That escaped cat was a success, but a tracker stole it from his grasp. Woo-in stands calmly nearby as the professor growls his anger. They must abandon this location to avoid more trackers, but they can't leave behind years of research. The hunt for their missing breakthrough begins. Back in safety, concern fills the dark-haired man's voice as he checks on their patient. The injured cat will live, but significant trauma means plenty of rest ahead. The orange and white cat expresses relief while questioning why they're even helping. Then excitement takes over. They've discovered an awakened cat. In this world of hidden powers, even the most unexpected creatures can surprise you. Jiwoo fidgets anxiously as Kayden's harsh words sink in. Of course the cat doesn't look well. Jiwoo just created massive problems by taking on an awakened opponent. The young man's protest falls flat. He didn't want to fight either, but what choice did he have? Kayden's orange and white fur bristles with frustration. Sometimes doing the right thing creates the most dangerous consequences. Jiwoo sits on the floor, touching his head in disbelief. The man seems angry, but surely he wouldn't chase them for long, right? He only saved a cat. Kayden's response is swift and terrifying. They will kill Jiwoo just to keep their secret safe. The large orange cat beside him appears calm, but the weight of those words settles over them like a death sentence. Some enemies never forgive. The cozy living room becomes a battlefield of nerves as Kayden berates Jiwoo for his recklessness. The plump orange and white cat gestures animatedly while Jiwoo clutches his head in alarm. But suddenly, time becomes the enemy. Jiwoo glances at his phone and panic sets in. He's late for school. He jumps up frantically while Kayden questions the importance of this thing called school. Normal life waits for no one. Morning light filters through the windows as Jiwoo prepares to leave for school. He expresses concern about the injured cat they treated all night, making sure Kayden has enough food for the day. But anxiety creeps into his voice. What if the rescued cat wakes up while he's gone? What if it returns to that dangerous, aggressive state? Some rescues come with ongoing risks. Kayden's ego inflates as he reminds Jiwoo of his superiority. The great Kayden has nothing to fear from some house cat. Jiwoo responds with genuine awe, calling him amazing, though he playfully suggests Kayden might just be a fat cat. The insult draws an indignant hiss. As Jiwoo stutters goodbye and rushes out, Kayden dismisses him with a disdainful TSK. Even legendary agents have their pride. Jiwoo peeks anxiously through the door, checking on Kayden one final time. His concern is genuine as he asks the cat to promise he'll be there when school ends. The orange and white cat watches this display of care, reflecting on a young man's insistence. Sometimes the bonds formed in crisis become the strongest anchors in an uncertain world. Promises matter, especially when danger lurks. Chaos erupts as 3 neighborhood cats invade the apartment. The plump orange tabby looks out the window in exasperation, cursing at whatever he sees. A calico, gray, and striped cat make themselves at home, while Kayden rebukes them harshly. "Get away from me," he demands. But cats, it seems, don't take orders from other cats, even legendary ones disguised as house pets. A black and white cat sniffs curiously at a food bowl when suddenly, boom, an explosive sound reverberates through the room. The visiting cats tremble in terror as a menacing voice declares its hatred. "I don't like you." Scram. The group huddles together, fear etched on their furry faces. Whatever just awakened in this apartment, it's not pleased with the company. Jiwoo returns home to find an unexpected scene. He explains to Kayden how 3 neighborhood cats led him to where the injured feline lay wounded. Without their help, he never would have found the victim in time. Kayden grumbles about not liking cat food anyway, while the visiting cats scheme quietly nearby. Heroes come in all forms, even furry ones with mysterious intentions. The kitchen fills with munching sounds as 2 hungry cats enjoy their feast. The chubby orange tabby rumbles with satisfaction while his darker companion crunches contentedly beside him. Spotting a can of tuna and chicken, the orange cat contemplates the challenge of opening it. After some strategic tapping, he presents his prize with a triumphant tada, followed by mischievous giggling. Victory tastes delicious. The orange and white cat stretches contentedly beside his empty food can, tail swishing with satisfaction. His loud exclamation of fulfillment draws curious looks from the gray and black and white cats nearby. But something shifts in the atmosphere. Several pairs of eyes begin glowing brightly in the dim light. Jiwoo's voice echoes from the entrance as he calls out his return. The reaction to his presence is unexpected. Jiwoo surveys the chaos of open food cans scattered across his floor. How did cats manage to cut through metal? The sheer number of empty containers suggests these aren't ordinary house pets. His mind drifts to painful memories. A blue-haired boy questioning his humanity while his silver-haired mother offers gentle reassurance. You're human, just different. Some differences are gifts, not curses. The conversation between mother and son grows heavier. If being different isn't anyone's fault, why are they always running away? The boy's isolation weighs on him. Is that why he has no friends? His platinum-haired mother kneels before him, vulnerability written in her posture. When he reaches out calling mom, the shadow of their shared burden becomes clear. Some gifts come with terrible prices. At an outdoor playground, young Jiwoo watches 4 kids playing soccer from a distance. His casual clothes and curious expression reveal a child yearning to join in. But something holds him back. The sound of a cat meowing breaks his contemplation, drawing his attention away from the games he can only observe. Sometimes the loneliest moments come when surrounded by others having fun. The orange and white cat approaches young Jiwoo with confidence. The boy draws his knees to his chest, squealing "EK" when the cat suddenly hisses at him. But fear quickly turns to curiosity as they engage in their first interaction. The cat meows. Jiwoo responds with wonder. Then comes that magical moment. Intense staring as 2 lonely souls recognize something in each other. Gentle moments unfold as Jiwoo carefully approaches the orange tabby. His hand descends slowly, cautiously, while the cat seems puzzled by this careful treatment. When Jiwoo finally pets him, the cat leans into the affection with obvious pleasure. The young man's face breaks into a wide grin as purring fills the air. Simple connection creates the purest joy. Sometimes friendship begins with a single, gentle touch. School brings Jiwoo back to reality with a harsh wake-up call. Slumped over his desk, he's been sleeping through classes for 2 days straight. His concerned classmate shouts for him to wake up, noting this unusual behavior. When class ends and Jiwoo groggily asks if it's over, another student expresses worry. Even in normal settings, the weight of his double life is taking its toll. Jiwoo urgently tells his teacher he has to leave, practically sprinting from the classroom. The door slams behind him as he rushes through school hallways with excited energy. Another student calls out to him, but Jiwoo's focus is elsewhere. His after-school activities have taken on new meaning. When you're living a double life, every moment away from normal feels like freedom calling. In the hallway, Jiwoo accidentally bumps into a tall, dark-haired student in a suit and glasses. His apology is genuine as he explains he was running, but the formal-looking boy seems confused by the interaction. Jiwoo recognizes him as the transfer student from last month, but grows awkward when no response comes. After another hasty apology, he hurries away down the stairs. Some encounters feel strangely significant. The suited student walks through sun-drenched corridors when his phone buzzes. Wooin's urgent voice cuts through the normal school atmosphere. He's asking about trackers and expressing alarm that Wooin is at a school. Something important was supposed to happen at this location. The contrast between mundane education and hidden dangers creates an ominous undertone. Normal and supernatural worlds are colliding. A stern teacher berates his student, calling him useless and ordering him back to the lab immediately. The dark-haired student apologizes while maintaining his respectful posture. Outside, normal school life continues. Students laugh and walk together in the bright sunlight. The teacher adjusts his glasses contemplatively. Meanwhile, somewhere else entirely, a cat stretches and awakens with a loud exclamation. Even ordinary moments hide extraordinary tensions. In a cozy living room, several cats gather as the gray tabby awakens with confusion. "Where am I?" he asks, drawing curious looks from his companions. But the peaceful moment shatters when aggressive hissing erupts. One cat's angry expression dominates the scene, while others react with startlement. The BDPT sound echoes as territorial instincts clash. Even among rescuers, not everyone plays nice. Terror grips the living room as a large wolf-like creature towers over trembling cats. Its low growl sends shivers through the huddled felines, their cartoonish expressions of fear almost comical, if not for the real danger. The wolf drums its paws while snarling menacingly. Suddenly, it screeches and lunges forward, sending a startled gray kitten flying backward with a comedic thud. The atmosphere crackles with playful, yet genuine menace. Kayden's commanding voice cuts through the chaos as he scolds the other cats. "You imbecile!" he roars, trying to establish order among the meowing masses. His ginger and white form bristles with authority while other cats clamor around frantically. Just then, Jiwoo's cheerful voice echoes from the entrance. "I'm home." His upbeat energy creates perfect comedic timing. The domestic drama pauses as normal life reasserts itself. Jiwoo bursts through the front door, his voice ringing with joy as he greets the familiar faces waiting for him. 3 cats, tabby, black, and orange, scatter across the sunlit living room. But his concern immediately shifts to Kayden. "Mr. Kayden, did you eat well while I was gone?" The worry in his voice is unmistakable. Even now, after everything they've been through, Jiwoo's first thought is for those he cares about. Anxiety creeps into Jiwoo's voice as he notices something wrong. The gray cat lies motionless on the sofa, and panic begins to set in. Is something really wrong? But then, relief washes over him like a tide. The cat had woken up briefly while he was gone. Jiwoo kneels beside the stirring feline, hope flickering in his eyes. Maybe everything will be okay after all. Kayden's sharp gaze cuts through the moment as he questions Jiwoo about the stray cats. The air grows thick with unspoken memories. Jiwoo's expression softens, distant and melancholic, as he reveals a painful truth. Moving constantly because of his powers, never having friends, until one day a stray cat became his first companion. The cats around him seem to understand the weight of his confession. The story turns bittersweet as Jiwoo holds the ginger cat close to his chest. That first friend vanished without a trace. He searched everywhere, but when his family moved away, that was it. Forever lost. I was always buying cat food, treats, toys. His voice trails off, tinged with nostalgia. The gray tabby yawns nearby, exhausted from its own ordeal. Exhaustion weighs heavily on Jiwoo's shoulders as he slumps against the floor. "Yeah, I'm tired. More so than usual." The recent events have drained him completely. Kayden huffs from the boy's lap, addressing him with familiar gruffness. But there's something different now, a warmth in the air. The cats gather around him like a protective circle, offering silent comfort. Kayden's commanding voice cuts through the moment. Stop yapping and start napping. Even in his feline form, his authority is undeniable. Jiwoo laughs despite his fatigue, finally surrendering to rest. But the scene takes an ominous turn. Somewhere in the darkness, a sinister voice speaks of failed experiments. The same drug that worked before, why doesn't it work now? In the shadows of a laboratory, 2 men discuss their grim failure. Woojin confirms the devastating news. All subjects are dead. The man with tousled gray hair erupts in frustration, his hands tangled in his hair like a madman. God damn it, it's really dead then. But his desperation quickly transforms into cold determination. They need more animals, more test subjects. The professor's reasonable concerns about animal shortages trigger explosive rage. The gray-haired man's patience snaps completely. "Shut up." His hand moves with violent intent. Clang! Blood splatters across the professor's stunned face. The message is clear. Failure is not an option. Logic and caution have no place in their twisted mission. Authority reasserts itself through intimidation and fear. The gray-suited man towers over the bloodied professor, his voice dripping with disdain. "How dare you talk back to me like that?" His solution is brutally simple. If they can't get animals here, they'll get them somewhere else. The professor can only apologize, his spirit crushed. Outside, a suburban house sits innocently in the darkness. Peace returns to the living room as Jiwoo sleeps deeply on the couch, soft snores filling the air. But Kayden remains alert, his green eyes narrowing with irritation. TSSSS. He hisses repeatedly, trying to wake the exhausted boy. Blue wisps of supernatural energy begin to emanate from the orange cat. Something magical is stirring in the quiet room. Kayden's frustration grows as he stretches, unable to gather sufficient power. The recent battles have left him drained, his magical reserves dangerously low. I've used too much power recently, he admits with a heavy sigh. But the real concern weighs heavier. He lent Jiwoo power when he was already weakened. The risks of that decision are becoming clearer. Dark knowledge surfaces in Kayden's mind as he contemplates the forbidden practice they've witnessed. Forced awakening is banned in our world because it's too dangerous and inhumane. His worst fears crystallize. If the enemy discovers what he did to awaken Jiwoo, they won't stay hidden. Jiwoo tosses fitfully in his sleep, sweat beading on his forehead. The danger is closing in. Jiwoo jolts awake, gasping as if someone was choking him. 3 cats perch on his chest like furry anchors, their combined weight pressing down. Someone was choking me. I couldn't breathe, but as the tabby slides off with a loud HUP, Jiwoo realizes the mundane truth. Sometimes the most terrifying nightmares have the silliest explanations. His panic dissolves into embarrassed laughter. The atmosphere lightens as Jiwoo and Kayden engage in their familiar banter. Concern masked by gruff dismissal, worry hidden behind sharp words. Now you're worried? After all you've done? But beneath Kayden's harsh exterior, genuine care shines through. Their bond has grown stronger through adversity, even if neither wants to admit it openly. A rare moment of vulnerability breaks through Kayden's tough facade as Jiwoo gently scratches behind his ears. Thank you for worrying about me. Kayden's pride battles against the comfort he feels. I'm not worried about you, he protests, but his purring betrays him. Even the great Kayden has limits to his emotional armor. The conversation takes a pivotal turn as Kayden offers something precious: knowledge. I'll teach you how to develop and efficiently use your powers. Jiwoo's eyes light up with excitement and gratitude. This isn't just training, it's trust. Kayden explains that Jiwoo's powers have grown through blind usage, but now it's time for precision and control. Reality tempers hope as Kayden sets clear expectations. This won't be a magical transformation overnight. Powers don't grow all of a sudden with just a couple days' work. The wooden-floored room becomes their training ground, boxes scattered around like silent witnesses. Jiwoo's doubt creeps in. What if years of effort led nowhere? But Kayden's confidence is unwavering. The formal training begins as Jiwoo kneels before Kayden in the dimly lit room. Come to me, Kayden commands with newfound authority. The atmosphere shifts dramatically as profound wisdom flows from the orange cat. There's power in your heart, the power to change. Jiwoo responds eagerly, ready to embrace whatever comes next. Let's begin. Electricity crackles through the air as Kayden's tail becomes a conduit of raw power. TSSSSS, TSSSSS, TSSS. The energy builds dangerously. PZZT, PZZT. Sparks fly as Jiwoo flinches, his shirt illuminated by the electrical discharge. Hulk, he gasps. But Kayden's voice cuts through the chaos. Hold on. The room fills with vibrant, chaotic energy. Exhaustion weighs on Kayden as the first lesson concludes. I'm tired. The energy transfer has drained him completely. He warns Jiwoo that practicing alone will be incredibly difficult. But then, something miraculous happens. A burst of light surrounds Jiwoo as he realizes the truth. Wow, I can control the power with your method. The first spark of mastery ignites. Understanding dawns as Jiwoo feels the power moving through his body exactly as Kayden taught him. So that's how you do it. Sunlight streams through the large window, illuminating his cross-legged meditation pose. The minimalist room becomes a sanctuary of learning. For the first time, Jiwoo isn't fighting his abilities. He's channeling them with purpose and control. In the dim room, filled with cardboard boxes, Jiwoo reflects on his rapid progress. After channeling power into him, Kayden is amazed by how quickly the boy has learned to move energy through his heart. You're actually progressing really fast, Kayden admits, though he reminds Jiwoo that mastery requires patience. The foundation has been laid, but the real work lies ahead. Reality crashes back as Jiwoo realizes he's running late for school. I'm going to be late. Panic sets in, but even in his rush, he doesn't forget his responsibilities. Racing up the stairs, he shouts about forgetting Kayden's food. The frantic energy of normal teenage life collides with their extraordinary circumstances. Some things never change, no matter how powerful you become. Jiwoo rushes out with his school uniform and backpack, calling back to Kayden about leaving food for the 3 stray cats in the front yard. His selflessness shines through even in his hurry. Kayden watches thoughtfully as the boy prioritizes the cats' needs over his own breakfast. He seems to prioritize food for the cats over eating himself. Perhaps that's what makes him special. Alone with his thoughts, Kayden contemplates Jiwoo's remarkable progress. The difference was so subtle that Jiwoo couldn't even notice it, but energy is definitely gathering in his heart. The golden tabby licks his paw thoughtfully. This is the fastest progress he's ever witnessed. Well, except for himself, of course. Then a shocking realization hits him. Could his teaching method really be this effective? Pride swells in Kayden's chest as he declares his own brilliance. His method allows Jiwoo to detect energy flow within his body. Of course, it's not Jiwoo who's the genius. I'm the one who's a genius. The great Kayden. But his boasting is interrupted when the other cats finish their food. Hunger makes even the mighty territorial. Don't even think about eating that, he growls. The domestic squabble continues as Kayden smugly observes the other cats understanding his dominance. But his thoughts drift to darker matters, forced awakening experiments. The weight of what they've witnessed hangs heavy in the air. Despite his posturing, Kayden eventually gives in to the persistent requests. Feline, you can have mine. Just leave me alone. Even legends need peace sometimes. School becomes Jiwoo's refuge from the extraordinary chaos of his double life. But exhaustion follows him everywhere. He jolts awake at his desk, disoriented and groggy. These past few days have been hard for me, he yawns. His concerned classmate calls out to him, unaware that Jiwoo's struggles go far beyond typical teenage fatigue. Normal life feels increasingly surreal. The teacher's dismissal comes with gentle understanding. Jiwoo is usually an excellent student, but concern shifts to a missing classmate. Does anyone know why Woo Jin is absent today? The silence that follows feels ominous. A recent transfer student gone without explanation. As the school bell rings ding-dong, students file out into the sunset, unaware of the shadows gathering around them. The golden sunset paints the schoolyard as Jiwoo walks with a female classmate, his thoughts drifting to Kayden. Is the cat waiting for him? Did he eat the food left behind? But suddenly, something catches his attention. A group of boys nearby seems focused on someone's backpack. Pet food spills out, and mocking laughter fills the air. The innocent moment takes a cruel turn. Tension crackles as Jiwoo recognizes the victim, Woo Jin, his missing classmate. The boy with slick dark hair and glasses faces a group of bullies alone. Mind your own business, scram, one of them shouts when questioned. But Jiwoo can't just walk away. His protective instincts, the same ones that drive him to help stray cats, surge to the surface. Some fights choose you. What follows defies all logic. Jiwoo moves like lightning, dodging every swing with supernatural reflexes. The bully's frustration mounts with each missed attack. How did you dodge that? UTWAT, one screams in disbelief. But Jiwoo's enhanced abilities make their movements seem sluggish, almost comical. This isn't a fair fight. It's a demonstration of power barely contained. The confrontation escalates as more players enter the scene. A confident blonde boy tries to defuse the situation, but the real threat emerges from the shadows. A dark-haired figure approaches Jiwoo with unsettling knowledge. You're the kid who keeps feeding the street cats, right? The question hangs in the air like a blade. Someone has been watching him. Jiwoo approaches Woo Jin with genuine concern, his protective instincts overriding caution. The dark-haired boy in the sleek black suit seems withdrawn, almost haunted. When asked about his absence, Woojin's response is cryptic. He only has cats at home. The sunset casts long shadows as they part ways, but the mystery deepens. What is Woojin hiding behind those glasses? The evening walk home should be peaceful, but unease follows Jiwoo like a shadow. Kayden, I'm home, he calls out cheerfully, unaware of the tall figure in the dark coat watching from a distance. Inside the warm house, cats gather around him as usual. But something's wrong. HM? I don't see Kayden. The familiar orange tabby is nowhere to be found. Panic drives Jiwoo through every room of the house. Tap, tap, tap. His footsteps echo on the stairs as he searches desperately. The unmade bed, the cluttered desk, every corner examined. Kayden, are you here? But silence answers back. The bright, spacious house suddenly feels hollow and cold. Where could the most important cat in his life have disappeared to? Despair crashes over Jiwoo as the horrible possibility crystallizes. Did he leave? Without saying goodbye? His fist clenches in frustration as the black cat meows nearby, unable to provide answers. The boy who saves everyone couldn't save the relationship that matters most. No, why did you leave without even saying goodbye? His anguished cry echoes through the empty hallway. Humility and regret pour from Jiwoo as he finds Kayden and immediately drops to his knees. Please forgive me. The bright room with its large windows becomes a confessional as Jiwoo bares his soul. His worry had transformed into hurtful words, and now shame burns in his chest. The large striped cat watches him closely, anger slowly giving way to understanding. The tension breaks as Kayden turns his back, grumpy but no longer truly angry. There's nothing to forgive. Forget it. I'm past it now. But when Jiwoo awkwardly mentions interrupting bathroom business, the cat's temper flares again. Shut it. Even in moments of reconciliation, some topics are off limits. The comedic timing lightens the heavy emotional atmosphere. Relief floods through Jiwoo as normalcy returns to their relationship. I'm glad you're still here. Kayden's disdainful look can't hide the underlying affection. When the other cat awakens on the couch, Jiwoo immediately alerts Kayden. Their bond has survived another test. The spacious house feels warm again, filled with the comfortable chaos of multiple cats and one very relieved teenager. Peace shatters as territorial instincts explode across the living room. The black cat hisses aggressively at the approaching striped cat, while Jiwoo watches in growing alarm. His eyes widen as he witnesses the chaos unfold. Cats in motion, tension crackling through the air. Even in a house of rescues, not every introduction goes smoothly. Sometimes old wounds, run deeper than kindness, can immediately heal. The strange behavior continues as the striped cat begins obsessively licking itself, leaving everyone confused. The yellow cat observes with curiosity while Jiwoo remains seated, looking concerned. Why do you think he's acting weird? The question hangs in the air as they try to understand this unusual display. Finally, Jiwoo picks up the tabby cat, relief evident in his voice as he expresses gladness that it's awake. Jiwoo cradles the striped cat in his arms, his protective instincts overwhelming his uncertainty. The gray cat's wide eyes and visible distress trigger his caretaker nature. "Mr. Clapp, can I take him to the hospital?" he asks the yellow cat. But Kayden observes that the gray cat seems calm now. The tension between wanting to help and respecting the cat's apparent comfort creates an anxious, yet nurturing atmosphere. The negotiation with Kayden takes a predictable turn toward bribery. "I'll give you treats," Jiwoo offers hopefully. The orange tabby's curiosity wars with his stubbornness until a crushing realization hits. Wait! Jiwoo's face falls as he remembers their depleted treat supply. Even the best-laid plans of mice and men often go awry when you forget to check the pantry first. The night air brings a false sense of peace as Jiwoo walks through the city streets, cradling Kayden in his arms. A girl in a light blue hoodie comments on how cute they look together. "Isn't this cool night perfect for a walk?" Jiwoo asks cheerfully, but in the shadows, a tall figure in a dark coat watches them closely through glasses. The predator has found his prey. Everything crashes together in a moment of terrifying recognition. A dark cat clings desperately to someone's arm as panic spreads. That cat. The pieces fall into place with horrifying clarity. They lost a sample. They have trackers. And now, in the safety of an animal hospital at night, Jiwoo seeks help for what he believes is an injured cat. He has no idea he's walking into the heart of the conspiracy. The veterinary clinic's bright lights offer false comfort as the doctor examines the orange cat. He seems to be fine, comes the professional assessment. But as the conversation turns to weight loss, the cat's thought bubble reveals murderous intent. I'll kill you. Meanwhile, Jiwoo's attention shifts to the multiple sick animals in care units. Something is very wrong here. The scope of the cruelty becomes clear. The vet's words chill the air as he describes treating urgent cases, animals in dire condition with no visible wounds but serious internal problems. When he mentions drug addiction, the atmosphere becomes electric with danger. Jiwoo and Kayden exchange glances, the pieces of the puzzle clicking into place. They've walked directly into the enemy's lair. The sound sirike punctuates the growing tension. In a dimly lit facility, the cleanup continues as Woo Jin reports back from disposing of animal carcasses. The weight of their actions hangs heavy in the air. Trackers could appear at any moment, adding paranoia to their already tense situation. Meanwhile, the man with white hair grows increasingly frustrated. It's driving me crazy. Why doesn't it work? The pressure is mounting on all sides. The final revelation explodes with lethal clarity. In the dimly lit office, the younger man describes witnessing superhuman speed, a tracker who dashed past him and escaped with a sample. His frustration boils into murderous intent, and I'll definitely kill him. The silver-haired man's eyes darken with the same deadly promise. Crack! The sound punctuates their shared resolve. The hunt has begun, and Jiwoo is the target.